We are coming up at the end of 2022. I honestly feel like this year has been pretty eventful for myself, but how has it been for you, Ryan?
Honestly, this year moved by pretty fast because, this was our first year after the whole quarantine and pandemic stuff, huh? Like our first full year of semi normal life.
Semi normal. It's like COVID is still running rampant out here. Everybody's just pretending that it's
Yeah.
still not running rampant. But I feel you though. Like we're doing we're I guess we're back doing things that we were doing pre-COVID. Like COVID's still around, but you know,
Stores are open, restaurants open, you know what
we
I'm
going to the
saying?
movies and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
I do feel like the year went by pretty fast.
Like, I think it's because we were stuck in the house so long, and then we had to spend the first half of the year
Mm.
trying to remember what it's like to go out and socialize again. You know what I mean?
I remember grass.
Right. I remember the smell of rain.
I remember. Is this rain? Yo, speaking of rain, winter has come and they not playing. I looked at the news. The newsman told me the other day that it was just gonna be flurries outside. And I'm like, okay, flurries,
Mm-mm-mm.
nothing too big. It was full blown snow. It snowed the whole day. I was playing Tokyo Drift in the parking lot of my job. And I
Ooh.
was like, what?
How you hydroplaning moving at 2 miles per hour?
That's yo,
Car
like
got the light popping up with the
I
little
mean,
swivels.
yes, I did the slowest turn and still slid. And I was like, yo, what what is going on right now? Y'all said flurries. This is not flurries. These are weapons of mass destruction.
Look, bro, right when I was getting used to Texas, I was like, this weather kind of fine because last week it was smooth 70s, you know what I'm saying? No lower than 65. I was like, I can get used to this. LA ain't got nothing on Texas. Then they said, oh, a cold front now it's in the 30s. I said, what, what,
That's
what,
that and
what happened?
that's what it is. Like I'm about to go home. For those who don't know, me and Ryan and Ralph are from Mississippi. We from the South. We Southern babies. I
Southern.
remember going home last year for Christmas and it was like 80 degrees. And I was like, y'all, why is it 80 degrees in December? I'm finna go home for Christmas and it's they talking about it's 20 degrees and 30 degrees and stuff. And I was like, whoa,
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Staying in the house all day.
it's crazy. But my 2022, honestly, hasn't been too bad. I think this has been a pretty chill year. Like just to reflect, we did the big Orlando trip. We did
Mm-hmm.
DreamCon for the first time, which was dope.
Real
We
lit, real lit.
As far as the podcast goes, it's like a lot of growth has come out of the podcast. I finished another semester of school, and I'm done till fall 2023. That is great.
Bro, every day I contemplate getting an MBA, and then I hear you talk about school. I'm like, nah, I could
I
wait. I could wait.
I would only say to get it, like if you're thinking about, and this is for anybody listening, if you're thinking about getting your master's, go ahead and get it while you're young. Like, cause the things that these classes are a lot. I guess it depends on what, institution you go to, but some of these classes are a lot. And just imagine, you know, you established in your 30s or 40s, say you got a wife and kids and stuff and trying to get your master's. And I'm not saying that you can't do it, but like I'm struggling. And I ain't got zero kids, I ain't got no wife.
Look,
I
you
just
you
go to
still
work and
young and
pay.
chilling, and it's
That
tough.
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm paying bills and buying toys and struggling in school. But like I would say if you're thinking about getting your masters, I would say get it while you early, or or do it now. Whatever age point you're at, if you think about doing your masters, go ahead and get it. My biggest advice would be to anybody who is working a full-time job, got their little side hustle on the side, doing something like the podcast, or you content create. Take one class a semester. You will like yourself.
She
So
said
much
no
better.
more than two. No more
No,
than two.
I mean, if you try it out, if you want to, try out 2 if you want to. I tried out 2 this semester, and it was a lot of late nights, early mornings, and like it was just a lot. It was a lot to balance with trying to do 2 classes, this podcast stuff, and work a full-time job. Like
Yeah.
I would never put myself through that again. But I mean,
So
like,
that's the fun thing. The podcast took up a lot of your time. If it was just work, you think you could have squeezed in 2 or 3 classes? Like if all
if
you did was work.
well, that goes back to my thing about the course load. Like one class I had, like the course load was like 2 classes.
Mm-hmm.
Like I had 2
Mm.
projects, 2 reports, and I still had to take a final exam. And it's like, what? Why?
Yeah.
So I mean, but that's what I was saying. Like if you work a full-time job, you doing something like how we doing the podcast on the side. My biggest advice would be to take one class, you know. I understand. I think one of the things that hurts a lot of people is like comparing themselves to others. Like you see other people getting their master's degrees in like 2-3 years. And I've been getting my master's since 2020. I ain't expected to graduate till like 2024, but you mean like
Yeah.
you have to take your time, because ain't nobody got to take them classes but you. Ain't nobody taking these classes for you. Ain't nobody paying these bills for you. Like you have to survive. And I get it. Like you don't want to be in school that long. It's not a lot of course hours as undergrad, so you could push it if you want to. But I mean, like, enjoy yourself. Like I'm not taking no summer classes. Like I said, I'm not going back until the fall. Like take your time, honestly.
Yeah. And that's a good some good advice, because I'm also contemplating, do I want the masters or do I just want to focus in on some of these certifications? Like I'm still looking into that PMP certification.
I want to get me some certs too. Like after I finish my masters, I definitely want to get me like an AWS cert or something.
Those make so much money. Yeah.
But definitely take your time and make sure I think another big advice is not saying that, I regret my masters or whatever. It's just read into the degree. Like, yeah, it say MBA, yeah, it say this, yeah, it say that. But actually, especially if you're trying to pick one institution to go to, look at the coursework,
Read
look
that
at
syllabus.
read what classes you got to take, read the concentrations, because everybody's MBA program is not the same. So
Bet. We putting folks onto the money. Money
I,
mob.
I'm just saying, this is I am telling my education story of 2022, because this shit is crazy.
She said, learn from my pain.
Learn from my pain, Lord. Um, but we still on 2022. We are doing something special. We are going to do our 2022 favorites. We are doing our favorite movie, our favorite live action series, favorite animated movie, favorite animated series, favorite video game drop, and favorite music album. So this should be pretty interesting. Um, since Ralph is not here, make sure you guys follow us on Instagram at the Blerd Mob Pod so you can see Ralph's picks. But I'm gonna let you start, Ryan. Let's go. Let's go movies. What's your favorite movie of 2022?
My favorite live action movie, I'm gonna be real. This was not that tough, but it had to be the Batman. It had
I
to
knew
be the
you was gonna pick the
Batman.
Batman.
I had to, bro. Like if anybody watched the mob review, you'll see how much I enjoyed it. I love darker movies. I the older I get, the more I want to see all of the darker themes, a little bit more solemnness, like a little bit less humor, more on the action, tough theme side. And the Batman hit for me, bro. I grew up on Batman. I grew up on DC more than I did Marvel, and it hit for me. Seeing Edward Cullen dress up as Batman, it did it for me. I used to like Twilight. It did it for me.
He said I used to like Twilight. So I got 2 favorite movies of 2022. And the only reason I'm doing that is because I want to, if y'all know me and y'all know where this easily could go, but I wanted to provide a divide. So I did my favorite non-MCU movie, and then I did my favorite, my favorite MCU movie, just to provide that divide. My favorite non-MCU movie of 2022 was Bullet Train with Brad Pitt. And the only reason I say that is because that movie turned out way better than I thought it was going to be. It was funny. It was engaging. It was like you had that one annoying girl on there, but the rest of it was just like, whoa. Like, it was a character ensemble movie with all of these different characters, and they executed it very well. And I'm not a big Brad Pitt fan. Like, I love Mr. and Mrs. Smith, but that movie took me by surprise. When I was looking down all of the live action movies I saw for 2022, I was like, this was pretty good.
Didn't watch Bullet Train. Okay.
It's on Netflix. Somebody told me it's on Netflix now.
Bet.
Favorite MCU movie of 2022 has got to be Multiverse of Madness. It has to.
Fair enough.
It has to. And if we want to go DC movies, because I did see two DC movies of 2022, it also has to be the Batman. It has to.
Well, since you don't know the difference between favorites, you doing top 3.
I had to. I could not choose. I could not choose because I was like, I really like this one. I really like Multiverse of Madness. But then it's going to be like, she picked the MCU movie. And I was like, okay, maybe I'll provide 2. And then I was like, I left out the DC stuff. But whatever. Number 1 is Bullet Train. I enjoyed that movie. That was my favorite. Sorry for the top 3.
I mean, I will give a special shout out to The Menu. The Menu was a really solid movie. When I went there, the lady at AMC was like, that's a good movie. What's it? How would you describe it? It was weird. And I was like, oh, thanks for the description, I guess. But when I watched it, bro, that's all I could say too. It was weird, but it had all the scenes that were supposed to hit. They hit. It has some humor. It has some deeper themes to it. Honestly, if you want to watch something that doesn't immediately throw the message in your face and you got to understand it, but it's not as cryptic as, say, what was that recent Jordan Peele movie?
Nope.
Nope. I couldn't grasp the hidden messages behind Nope. Maybe I'm slow, but I could grasp them between. I'm just being real. I had to get on Twitter to see what that movie was about. But when I watched The Menu after it was done, I was like, meaningful. I messed with it. It was different.
I gotta go check that out. I wanted to go see it before we recorded this episode, but I didn't get around to it. So there you go. All right, so let's go live action series.
You already know the answer. You already know the answer. We can say we can say it. You want to say it together? You want to do a countdown?
1, 2, 3. House of
the Dragon. There we go. No explanation needed. It hit.
I didn't.
Damien.
House of the Dragon is my second one. I picked Stranger Things season 4. That went in.
I'll give you that. I'll let you have it.
Did you watch Stranger Things season 4?
Nope, I couldn't get into Stranger Things.
for all the way the story was darker this go round, and it was like the stake of the characters. They had split up into like 3 different teams and all this other stuff. I felt like it was well put together, and then the end didn't end with like the happy ending, like, oh, we beat the bad guy. It was like, nah, y'all in trouble. So House of the Dragon is definitely second, but I was expecting House of the Dragon to at least be at the top.
I didn't expect House of the Dragon to hit this hard for me, to be honest. If I could go back and watch the episodes where we were predicting these series, I think I almost expected the Lord of the Rings series to hit harder for me because it was new and they were starting from the beginning.
But this was the thing, though. When they first announced House of the Dragon and Lord of the Rings, I was always on House of the Dragon side. That was you.
Yeah.
That picked Lord of the Rings and how the turntables.
Look, bro. I expected them to do right by Lord of the Rings. They threw it in the toilet and forgot to flush and didn't use any tissue. And House of the Dragon came with it.
I was cautiously cautiously optimistic about House of the Dragon, but I didn't think it was going to suck.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's definitely my runner up.
It hit for me. Number one.
So let's go favorite animated movie 2022. 3, 2, 1.
I think I picked Jujutsu Kaisen 0. I couldn't even think of what other animated movie I watched, to be honest with you.
I was scrolling through the list and I was like, I did watch that. I did watch that.
What did you see? Because all I could think of was JJK 0.
I watched it. JJK 0 is on my list. Catwoman Hunted came out earlier this year.
Fair enough.
I watched that one. I watched Turning Red on Disney Plus. And it was something else that I saw that I was like,
Any of those DC movies? Like, I know I watched the Green Lantern one that just dropped.
The only DC thing that I watched for 2022 was Young Justice. But that's a series.
That's a series, yeah.
But I picked Turning Red, the story about the panda girl on Disney Plus. It was cute. It was 90s. It was like 90s coming of age. And then they did a really good job with the culture representation because this was Chinese representation inside of a Pixar movie. So you get that mixed with the 90s and all of it. I thought it was cute. I thought it was dope. Catwoman Hunted was okay.
Yeah.
JJK was really good, and I would watch it again. But I like that spunk that Turning Red had. It was good.
Fair enough. I picked JJK 0 because honestly, I think that was when I gave JJK season 1 a rewatch, and I appreciated it a lot more than my first time. And JJK 0 basically made me go, okay, I am a fan now. You know what I'm saying? It made me go, okay, I'm gonna stick to it.
I feel you. All right, here we go. So we move from animated movie. Favorite animated series. 3, 2, 1.
The fans might have an expectation of me and I might break it, but I'm gonna give it to Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Gotta give it to Cyberpunk Edge Runners. I had absolutely zero expectations for that series. It blew me out the water. I was a whale and I hit land after watching that series.
He said I was a whale.
It blew me out because it blew me out the water.
Get him out of here. Boo.
Boo. I absolutely.
Boo. Get his ass out of here.
You're flaring up my allergies.
Boo.
I absolutely love Cyberpunk Edge Runners. Ask Phoop and Ralph. That's all I could talk about for like 3 weeks when it first came out. It got all of the video game fans back into the video game. It told a full, complete story. And if you're an anime watcher, the studio behind it is the same. It's the same studio that animated Kill la Kill. I can't remember the studio name, but they did a great job and added their own flair to it.
Nice. My favorite animated series of 2022 is The Legend of Vox Machina. I ain't never played a day of D&D in my life, but it got me. Like, it was like, good. Okay, D&D, I see what this is, but in an animated format. I think, like I said before, because I think we talked about this in a previous episode, the unique thing about this is that the actors are actually playing the D&D campaign that is being animated in Legend of Vox Machina. And I was like, okay, so these are like genuine choices, that they're making throughout the storyline. And that right there. But like, I had no expectation of The Legend of Vox Machina because, I haven't played D&D. I didn't know what to expect. But I like animation. And I checked it out and I was like, okay, this is dope. Then it was that mature type cartoon. Like, we get into the nitty gritty, like murder, all these dark spirits and stuff like that. I was like, okay. And now I'm excited for season 2.
Season 2 trailer look nice too.
It does.
It look nice.
It does. But all right. Favorite video game drop of 2022. 3, 2, 1.
Okay. Game of the year, Elden Ring. From Software. Elden Ring had me in front of my TV every day for at least 5 hours in front of my chick going, damn! Damn! And then you can I was legit in my room screaming all types of cuss words that I shouldn't let my mama hear me say and clapping the second I beat a boss, bro. 10 out of 10 game. It deserved every single award it got at the Game Awards. Every single one should have got more. Game of the year, I did not expect much of it. I did not even play Sekiro yet. It's sitting on my shelves and I forgot to play it. From Software made a masterpiece on Elden Ring, bro. Damn
It's
masterpiece.
George R. Martin approved. Let's give a round of applause to George R. Martin approved projects. Because House of the Dragon banged. As you can see from Ryan, Elden Ring slapped. So give it up for the
Yes, bro.
George R. Martin approved projects. My favorite video game drop, and I didn't play a lot of games this year, but the ones that I have to give it to Pokemon Violet. I know it's getting a bad rap with as far as the graphics go, but this is the most fun I've had. I'm done with the game, but this has been the most fun I've had in a Pokemon game ever. It's 3 storylines, and one of the storylines take you to a completely different area than the area that you explored in the 3 campaigns.
So what do you mean by 3 campaigns?
So it's the regular gym, you used to going around to the gyms. That's the storyline. They got a second storyline where you have to fight these big Titan Pokemons with this other dude. And then there's a third storyline that's focused on the you know how they have the Team Rocket equivalent in the game.
Right.
This storyline is focused on the Team Rocket equivalent. And then you get allies from all 3 of those storylines, and then you and all 3 of your allies go and fight that final big ass boss, and that's where they do the whole legendary Pokemon story.
Ah.
So, and then
Okay.
it is in a completely different area than the area that you explored throughout the rest of the game. So you haven't even touched it.
So in the ads, it made it seem like the end all legendary Pokemon. That's like how both of them can turn to like motorcycles / cars.
Mm-hmm.
Do you get the legendary pretty early on before fighting the boss, or?
So you get the legendary early, but the legendary doesn't have all of its abilities. So as you progress through the Titan story, so it's 5 locations. When you complete each location in the Titan story, it gets some of its abilities back. But it still doesn't have its fighting abilities. You get abilities that help you travel more efficiently throughout the land. And then when you get to the big legendary battle thing, that's when it finally gets its battle powers back.
Okay.
So it's basically like, so you remember in Sword and Shield how you were able to get the legendary and then you could go fight the champion with the legendary?
Yeah.
You can't do that in this game.
Okay.
You have to, the Pokemon party that you built is the Pokemon party that you have to complete all 3 of these campaigns with. And then you get to fight with the legendary.
Okay. Because I did not get this game because I wasn't looking forward to it. I just ended up spending my money on manga and stuff, and I was like, I'll have to get it later.
I would, if you're a big graphics person, Nintendo said they're going to be sending out an update to update the graphics on the game. So if y'all want to wait until the update so you can have some good graphics, then you could do that. But honestly, the graphics didn't take away any of the experience from the game.
I mean, it's Pokemon. Like, you don't expect top tier 4K Ultra HD graphics from
Nintendo. At a point, you gonna look at it and you be like, ah.
Oh, it get bad. It get bad.
I played that jump for so long that the game started slowing down on my ass, and I was like, ah.
She started rubber banding on a story mode game.
I was like, what? But yeah, but it didn't take away, for me, it didn't take away too much of the experience. It was fun. They got the raids in there, so Sword and Shield players, if you remember Dynamax raids, they got Terra raids, and the way that the mechanics work in the raids are so much better than the Dynamax raids.
Cool. Fair enough.
So that's my video game drop 2022. I was not. I was expecting the regular Pokemon game where you go around catching Pokemon and beat all the gyms and then do the Elite Four. But this right here, top tier.
Nice, nice.
All right. So last one. Favorite 2022 album drop.
I'm gonna have to give it to Working on My Karma by Division. I'm gonna say something that might be polarizing. This Drake album didn't hit that hard for me. I enjoyed it.
I don't think that was polarizing to anybody.
No, I mean a lot of people, at least on Twitter.
But let's.
All the Drake fans were just like, "Ooh, this is like the best thing since blah 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 blah." I was like, Certified Lover Boy was better than this.
The fact that he had to drop 2, and we talked about both for a week, and never talked about them albums again.
Facts. I'm still listening to Certified Lover Boy, to be honest.
Same.
Like, I'm just being real. This album ain't as a known Drake fan. It didn't hit that hard, but Working on My Karma by Division, sleeper hit. I listened to the entire album beginning to end multiple times. Still listening to it in the shower from beginning to end. No shuffle, no nothing.
Not in the shower. They will be having concerts, shower concerts.
Singing to myself, man. Singing to myself.
My album drop is Renaissance by Beyonce. She didn't have to do it. She didn't have to do that. Listen. Why am I still listening to a Beyonce album that dropped in July from top to bottom? And it sounds like the first time I listened to it every time. The album is so good that Beyonce snuck her way into my top 5 artists on my Spotify. What it is? My Spotify
22 Wrapped. 22
my
Wrapped,
Spotify Wrapped. And I was like, I have not been listening to Beyonce like that for her to be in my top 5, but it was this album.
Yeah.
And I have to give it to her. And this is only part 1. She got 3 parts to this whole Renaissance thing that she's doing, and this was only part 1.
Ooh, I ain't gonna cap. You and Ralph were talking about it, and I was listening to it. Then I started listening to it. I was like, hold on, this hit.
The transition from Cuff It to Energy and to Break My Soul. That's one song.
It hit. It's taking over TikTok too.
It's one song. It was beautiful. It was beautifully done. I swear. I do have a top 3 though. I had to do a top 3 on this one because I was looking at the albums that came out and I was like, gotta give a couple of these a bit more love. That Metro Boomin album?
Yes! Heroes to Villains! Ooh! That almost became my favorite. It's only because 2 songs on there ain't on my playlist that I picked Division's album. Heroes and Villains, woo!
That Metro Boomin album is
heat.
Yes.
Fire.
I did not know what a 21 Savage and The Weeknd feature was going to sound like. But Creepin'?
You wanna know what's funny? That's not my favorite song. I heard it and I was like, it's cool, it's solid.
No, they snapped. Have you heard the original song that they sampled though? That's a sample.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's old school. That's classic.
And I was like, the song previous transitions into it, so I'm listening to it, and when it transitioned and I recognized the melody, I was like, wait a minute.
It was beautifully done.
Then The Weeknd started singing, and I was like, wait a minute. And then it said The Weeknd and 21 Savage, and I was like, oh my God.
It did hit. Metro Boomin and 21 Savage is like a match made in heaven. Because I still bump Savage Mode 2, which is him and Metro Boomin, and it's delicious album.
I have to give the third slot. This is not his best album, but I have to give it to him because majority of the songs from that album is on my playlist. Don FM by The Weeknd. He gave his usual. But Take My Breath Away, I haven't heard vibes like that since Kissland. If I want to be for like the way that it starts,
Did I listen to that album? I gotta
like
check my Spotify.
it was nice. It's not his best album, but it definitely had me in a chokehold for a while.
Mm, fair enough. Now, have you listened to SZA's new album? Because people been talking about it a little
I
bit.
I made it halfway through SZA's album. Because I listened to Metro Boomin's first, and then I hopped on SZA's, and I'm halfway through, and it's I like the different vibes that she has going on in this album. So I just gotta finish. I gotta finish the second half of it, but that is our 2022 favorite. What's up, y'all? If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get more updates from the mob. For the full discussion and more discussions like this one, click the link in the description. Thanks for watching.
Rock with it, rock with it. Let me pop my shit. Let me pop my shit. Hands up.